Yo, Triple Eight Mega here, Bad Deck Enthusiast, and today I have a fun deck I've been clapping with in Diamond 1, Dogmatika. I'm not talking normal summon Alistair, special window Dogmatika. I'm talking pure ritual Dogmatika. But first, please like and subscribe, it will help me out a lot. We recently passed 50 subscribers, and I'm looking to reach 100 soon. Thank you guys for all your support. Now let me give you the deck list. So there's two different types of people in Diamond 1. It's the kind of people that play the smelly, try hard, you're not allowed to play the game decks. And two, people who are just chilling and vibing, testing decks, or memeing, having fun, having a good time. This deck, while it's a control deck at heart, it just isn't as strong as like the meta decks. And with the Dead Servant being limited to one, being one of our main searcher cards, the consistency of the deck is lacking just a little. But we do our best. We're playing the hella hand traps, and it's very easy for this deck to snowball out of control. So let me give you the card by card. So we're playing 3 Ecclesia, 1 Fleur de Lis. I would play 2, but I just don't have like the will to craft another. 3 Maximus, because this card is very core to our strategy. 1 Ashian, I call him Ashy Man because he's hella ashy, but not even that. He's just a good recovery card. And we're playing triple White Knight of Dogmatika. This card is also core to our strategy, as well as the 3 Dogmatic Calamity and 2 Dogmatica Punishment. And that's just the core. We're playing the 1 Nadir Servant. I wish it was at 3, but it's not. So yeah. Also, another good combo card is Diviner. Sometimes you'll open a hand that's like Diviner, Ecclesia, and you want to make a play, but you kind of can't. So what you do is you would normal summon Diviner, you would send the Herald of Arclight, then you would make Almirage, and then you can special Ecclesia because you have an extra deck monster on the field. You can then either search Fleur de Lis or Maximus. If you search Maximus, you banish the Arclight, and then you special the Maximus, and then you could send another Arclight, because not once per turn. You could send another Arclight, or you could send whatever you want, a Titaniclad, and you just make your plays from there. You start making your opponent send cards from their extra deck to the graveyard, and as they're doing that, you get to see what your opponent is playing. If you do it turn 1, you get to plan for them. Sometimes they'll send Shaddoll cards, which are kind of annoying, or cards that have effects in the graveyard. But that's why we're playing Sideframe Lord Omega, where if your opponent sends something you don't like, you send this to the graveyard, and then you shuffle their card back in the deck. Or if they don't send anything that's relevant to you, you shuffle like Nadir Servant back in the deck, or anything that you would like to use later on. So yeah, we're playing 3 Diviner, and then the rest is just hand traps and control, like help against hand traps. So we're playing the 3 Maxi, 1 Effect Villa, 2 Ash. I still don't have my 3rd Ash, don't laugh. 2 Ghost Bell, I don't have 3 of those either. And then we're playing the triple Crossout Designator, double Call by the Grave, don't get caught without it, and the 1 in Perm for the Crossout Designator as well. We're also playing Nibiru because a lot of people don't respect Nibiru, and it's also very easy for us to get rid of the token regardless of the size of it. So 2 Nibiru is good. I don't have 3 of that either, but I probably wouldn't play 3 either way. And for the extra deck, we're playing 1 Natis. I crafted a royal one, so I'm nice like that. And Fossil's Warrior Skull Knight. This is just a good card to banish to pop a monster. If I had a second Natis, I probably wouldn't play this. Fossil Machine Skull Wagon. You can banish it to pop a spell trap. It's a good out for skill drain, but you have to get it into the graveyard before the skill drain gets flipped up. So sometimes I send it if I don't know what else to send. And Wind Pegasus Adagnister is a good card to make sure you don't lose. Pretty much you send this to the graveyard with Maximus, and when something on your field gets destroyed, you have to shuffle a card back in the deck. I'm pretty sure it's non-target. No, it's target, but it doesn't even matter. Just shuffle it back in the deck, and you don't have to worry about it. And the rest of these cards, I don't think we make them. Maybe Artemis, but this is 3 slots, Nightmare, and Access Code, where you can fit whatever you want. I probably would like to play another Titaniclad, but since this is like a fun deck that I don't really focus on too much, I don't really want to craft URs for this deck, so that's why we're not playing the second Natis and another Titanclad and another Fleur de Lis, because that's 3 URs that I could craft and probably make this deck more credible, but it's just a fun deck. So I hope you like the deck list, and let me show you some duels that really made me want to make this video in the first place. So in this duel, we're up against a 60 card deck, and it's probably like the worst possible scenario for us. So we go first. We open up Diviner and Maximus, so we have some sort of combo. We send a Herald of Arclight. Arclight will search the Ritual Monster, White Knight of Dogmatika. Then we link him away for Almirage. Or her. We link her away for Almirage. Special summon a Maximus. Now this is a misplay on my end, because in case your opponent has hand traps or something, you want to summon the White Knight first, unless you need the Maximus to search for your missing pieces. But because we have both pieces here, this is a misplay on my end. I should have summoned the White Knight first. That way if my opponent activates a card effect, we can make them send one card from the extra deck to the graveyard, and we do the same. So it'd be a way to just get cards out of my opponent's extra deck before he can threaten me with them. So Maximus activate. We send the Wind Pegasus and the Skull Warrior. This is just to play around skill drain, and this is in case something gets popped on our field. We have an answer to it. And he sends Abcalone, and he sends Construct. So this is the worst case scenario. We're playing against Shaddoll. I'm expecting him to add freaking Schism to his hand, to summon Window on my turn, to do whatever. But unfortunately, he does. Well, good for us, he doesn't do that. He adds Squamata, and then he gets rid of Squamata. Then he mills Ariel. So he sees we're on Dogmatika, and he just goes targeting our graveyard, which is very bad for us because we want cards in our graveyard. Dogmatic Calamity now. We're going to send Titanclad and special summon, ritual summon the White Knight of Dogmatika. So Titanclad will give us an add or special summon in the end phase, and we're going to end our turn. We're going to special summon Ecclesia. No, we're not. He has Ash. And if we would have kept this in our hand, the cross-out designator, we could have countered the Ash, and we should have, but we misplayed again. So 2 misplays in turn 1. But because he ashed me, we get to activate the White Knight and say goodbye to DPE. No DPE for you. We also sent an Omega for us, which we plan on using. So El Shaddoll Fusion, he sends another Ariel. So say goodbye to my Omega. Say goodbye to my Titanclad. He's milling again. I'm expecting to see Schism. I still don't see Schism. But White Knight of Dogmatika has an answer for him. And I'm pretty sure we send the Tis here, and we sent away his Mechaba. So no Mechaba for you. Natis going to pop your Construct. If you sent Schism to the grave, you'd be able to add it back. But because you haven't done so, we're going to pop you. Then he goes for Call by the Grave. But because we misplayed last turn, this turn is not a misplay. We have the cross-out designator, cross out the Call by the Grave. You're not doing anything to me. So this allows him to add back Spell Trap when it's destroyed. But because he didn't send Schism to the grave, he can't add that back. So he can only add back the El Shaddoll Fusion, and that's once per turn. So we're out of the woods. We're out of the woods now. So he opens Pot of Desires. End phase. And what do we rip into? Cross out Designated, but it doesn't matter. He scoops. We were going to activate Maximus. We were going to then put stuff in attack mode and try to put some pressure on him, but it doesn't matter. He scooped. So, GG. Alright, so this duel, I think we're going up against Hero. And we did not come out on top of this one. But our hand's pretty busted. Diviner, Maximus, Call by the Grave, Imperm. That's a busted hand. And we're going second. So, Shadow Miss into Darklaw. We have Darklaw is like an FTK against us. So I have to save this Imperm for Darklaw, or else I can't send my extra deck cards to the graveyard to make my plays. So Darklaw. Then he adds the Ferris. Ferris will then discard the special summon. Ferris will then set a Vision Hero in the back row. Increase will tribute a hero to special summon itself, and then a hero from the deck. And I want to imperm him, but I can't. There's no guarantee I'm going to draw like anything to interrupt him next turn. I have to negate this at all costs. Poly, he's going to link away into the Cross Crusader. Crusader can bring back a Destiny hero from the graveyard. And then he can also tribute to add. So you tribute, you add the Denier, then you banish the Malicious to special summon the Malicious from the deck. And now you can poly, the poly you search for the Vion can make DPE. So heroes can still summon DPE, like straight up. Like they don't need Verte. And he ends on DPE Darklaw. Now, I want to imperm the DPE because he can pop my stuff. But I also want to imperm the Darklaw. But I have to imperm the Darklaw because I can't make plays with the Darklaw on the field. We ripping the Maxi, one turn too late. Imperm, negate. He's going to Maxi me. And I want to save the cold buy for the Maxi. I mean for the DPE. So I don't call by the Maxi. So we go Diviner. He ashes us. We have to call by this Ash. Because that would have ended my turn. That would have ended my turn. That Ash would have ended my turn. And had he known that would have ended my turn, he probably would have popped the Diviner with the DPE. But he doesn't know. So we send the Herald of Arclight. We add the White Knight. We link this away into Almirage. And now since we have the Herald of Arclight in the graveyard, we can special summon Maximus. And it's protected from DPE pop. Because the minute he decides to activate DPE, I can chain Almirage and protect my Maximus. So banish the Arclight. Summon the Maximus. Maximus effect, he can't pop us. We send Wind Pegasus and Arclight. We get our ritual spell. We're in attack mode because, you know, we got it like that. Send the Titanclad. Special summon the White Knight. And, yeah, we crash this. And then we end the damage step. Wind Pegasus, shuffle away the DPE. He couldn't react to that. And then in the end phase, Ecclesia will search for Fleur de Lis. And unfortunately, we couldn't get rid of the Darklaw. But we have a negate next turn. We have Maxi. We need to negate the Darklaw before we can Maxi because it's not physically possible. Because you have to send this to the graveyard. It's not a discard. It's a send. So we have to early negate the Darklaw with Fleur de Lis. And then we wait for him to go to special summon. He's going to special summon back to Shadow Mist to add a mass change. We need to pop this Darklaw real quick. But he has Ferris. So Ferris discard his second increase. And I'm pretty sure they don't play 3. But when we go to Maxi him, he has the crossout designator. So that hurt us because that was really our own defense. Our only defense was Maxi. So he goes into Pharisee. He doesn't have any more increase, so he puts Vion in the back. But because he has Denier, he can still shuffle back the Malicious and then tribute that to add Plasma. And Plasma is like, yo, Plasma ruins us right now. So he goes into Plasma. He yoinks the Fleur de Lis. Special summons back the Shadow Mist. Adds the mass change. And, yeah, we're all negated. So we get clapped right here. But it was a fun duel. It was back and forth. I had answers for him. So it wasn't like we just got, you know, stomped all over the place. But we just got our Maxi negated. So we weren't able to capitalize off of all the special summons he made. And we don't have much follow-up after he clears our board. So I'm praying for Raigeki right here because it's like my only out. And I ripped into Harpy's Feather Duster. So Duster, and then I'm pretty sure I just scooped after this. So GG for me. We came up a little short, but it was still a good duel, and I had a lot of fun. Okay, so this is the last duel I'm going to showcase, and this is what happens when you open up Busted. We're going up against Virtual World, I believe, and our hand is pretty good, but it kind of like loses to Ash, maybe, but who cares? Let's go. So right off the back, Dogmatic Calamity, in case he has a hand trap, besides Max C, I'm talking like Ash or anything else, we'll be able to force a card out of his extra deck. So I probably wanted to Nadir Servant first, but we're gonna go with this in case he has like a hand trap to stop the Nadir Servant. We can still benefit from it. So Nadir Servant, he doesn't have it. We send the skull wagon, and this is because we I don't even know why I sent that, but it worked out for us. We banished this. Okay, so it was a card. I wanted to send a card that I didn't care if I banished. So I sent the Skull Wagon because I play 2. Maximus will then send the Wind Pegasus and the Arclight. And we're just adding because. And when I see what he sends, the Phantom Fortress into Blatner and the Gaia Dragon, immediately I'm thinking Virtual World. I'm like, yo, this has to be Virtual World. I don't know that many decks that plays Gaia Dragon, but Virtual World is one of them. And this is a 9 XCs. So yeah, I got Virtual World vibes from that. So we added Fleur de Lis in the end phase from the Titan Clyde, and this is pretty good. This is what you want to open. This is what you want your field to look like. We have 2 hand traps in hand, 3 if you count Fleur de Lis, and we have some defensive dudes, and we have Wind Pegasus in the graveyard, which is another interruption, and we have White Knight, which can snipe a card out of his extra deck. So because we're going second, and I already assume he's on Virtual World, here we go. Chuche. But because he activated a card, we get to snipe it. We send his Shen to the grave. We pop the Chuche. He has Cold by the Grave to negate the Entis, but we have Ghost Spell. So that negates Cold by the Grave. Ghost Spell is a really good card. I wouldn't say go get it, but if you already have your other staples, then you probably should pick it up. So we pop the Chuche, and he goes into King Long. King Long is going to banish to try to negate. He negates the... I don't know why he negated Ecclesia. But we were just waiting for him to declare a special summon so we can max C. And he has no answer for the max C because he already tried to call by the Natis. So we'll start drawing cards. We draw Ashy Man. Yes, he's hella ashy. We draw the Call by the Grave. He increases the levels. He makes M7. I'm expecting him to use it, but he doesn't use it. So I'm fearing Zeus. I'm fearing Zeus, but it's not happening. He goes into Lao Lao. Special summon. We draw another card, and he says, yo, this is too much. I can't deal with this. By the time I clear your board, you're going to have so much cards in hand that this is just too much for me to handle. So he scoops. And we did check his extra deck. He was playing VFD. He was playing Zeus. So, yeah, he got wrecked. So once again, here's the list. This deck is a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I play it a lot. Like I said, the only thing I would change is probably if you want to play it optimally, would be to add more Natis, maybe another Titan Clad, and another Fleur de Lis. That way you don't have to depend on the search for Fleur de Lis. You can already have it in hand. The hand traps is really whatever you want, but if you're going to play Crossout Designator, you have to play the ones that hurt you the most to counteract them. Nibiru is kind of free, but you don't really want to open Nibiru and nothing else. And the deck does brick sometimes, but your starter cards are Ecclesia and Diviner, or even if you could get a Ritual Summon, then you can pop off by sending Titan Clad. And then we're playing Pot of Desires as well. We don't really feel like the Banish 10 hurts, as long as you don't activate both of them. But the Banish 10 doesn't really hurt, because you're playing 3, 3, and 3, and 3, and 3. You know, there's 3s everywhere. So you're not going to banish 3 copies of one card. And even if you do, it's not the end of the world. Unless you banish 3 Maximus, then that might hurt. But hasn't happened yet, so I don't think it will happen. But, yep, here's the deck. And if it works for me, it can work for you. Peace out.